The race to November is heating up, and Trump-backed businessman Eric Hovde won last night's Republican Senate primary in Wisconsin. Hovde has already spent at least $13 million of his own money in the race.
And now he faces two-term incumbent Senator Tammy Baldwin in a matchup that could decide control of the Senate. Here to discuss is Wisconsin's new Republican Senate nominee, Eric Hovde. Thanks so much for being with us.
Good to see you.
It's great being on your show. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day.
Well, you should be having a wonderful day. You just found out that you won. You have only had mere hours to process this win. Have you had time to figure out what's next in your campaign?
Well, when I started this campaign, I really started with running for the general election against Senator Baldwin. That has been my focus since the day I've entered the campaign. So we're just going to continue down the path of pointing out her record and how, she has voted to create the massive wave of inflation or opened our southern borders and has not addressed the fentanyl crisis that is really impacting our state. So we're just trying to stay focused on the issues and pointing out Senator Baldwin's record and my solutions and trying to how to get our country get going again on the right path.
All right, let's take a look at some of the numbers if we can. According to a recent Marquette Law School poll, Senator Baldwin holds a 7-point lead over you among registered voters in Wisconsin. So what makes you so confident that you can actually flip this seat come November?
Look, it's by talking about the issues. When you get down to what people care about, number one is the economy, it's jobs and inflation. Real wages have declined over the last 3.5 years. We've never had, even during the great financial recession, real wages declined for 3 years. And talking about inflation, everybody has seen the impact on their food prices, their housing costs, their energy prices. Look at the cost of car insurance. So talking about that. Second, the second biggest issue is the open border. And as I've said, there's so many different layers to that. It's impacting people's ability to get affordable housing, health care, the crime issues, the fentanyl crisis, which, we're losing over 100,000 largely young Americans every year to this. And that poison comes out of China, goes to the drug cartels, and it comes up over our southern border. So I'm talking about issues that matter. Health care, access to health care, the cost of health care. A huge issue in our state, and I think everywhere, but in our state, particularly our rural communities. So I'm just going to continue to stay focused on the issues that matter. The election now, come Labor Day, everybody starts getting tuned in. And I feel very comfortable that, the solutions that I am talking about to these major issues will carry the day.
I'm curious what you think and how you think the presidential race will affect down-ballot elections like yours.
Look, without question, the presidential race is going to impact my race and congressional races and everything else. At the same time, if I can do well, I can affect President Trump's performance as well. So, we're both interlinked with each other. I don't buy, the different day-to-day polls. I think right now President Trump is probably in a slight lead, but he's got to stay focused on the issues. Look, you've got probably the most extreme set of politicians with Kamala Harris, who was voted the #1 most liberal senator, Tim Walz, who is considered maybe the most liberal governor, and Senator Tammy Baldwin, who's voted the 2nd most liberal senator in the U.S. Senate today. So, they just have a very different vision than, where I stand or where President Trump stands on economic issues and on the border.
I have to ask you about your stance on abortion. Previously, you supported overturning Roe v. Wade and said you totally opposed abortion. Now you're saying you support certain exceptions. So what's changed and where do you stand at this point?
Well, first of all, I've always agreed with exceptions. I've never said anything to the contrary. As it pertains to overturning Roe v. Wade, it was bringing it back to the states and letting the people decide. I believe the people of Wisconsin should decide this issue in a compassionate and common sense approach. I have made my position very clear from the get-go. I think we should do it through a referendum. Everybody should have their vote. I will have my vote. I believe in the beauty of life. I have 2 daughters, 3 grandchildren. And I agree with exceptions for rape, incest, and the health of the mother. And I agree that early on in a woman's pregnancy, she should have a right to choose. But there comes a point in time where a baby can be born healthy and alive, that it's unconscionable that we should be talking about terminating that child's life. So the only adjustment I've made is that, you know, as I've matured and had 2 daughters go through their teenage and early 20s, that I do think that there's a reasonable time for a young woman that's struggling with that difficult issue, that they should have a right to make that choice.
Wisconsin Republican Senate nominee Eric Hovde, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.